this session we're going to look at setting up invisible hit states. So it's another form of a button. In the past we've created buttons where you click on it and you see a physical button, but what happens if you've got a more complex image and you want to create sort of hit areas but without having to dice all the image up? So what we're going to do is we're going to use a picture from Futurama and we're going to set this up to be our button. So first of all we actually need to import this into our library. So once again I'm importing to library rather than to stage. And so I've got a Futurama PNG file. So I'm going to open this up and this should import into our library. So here is our image. I can now drag that onto our stage. If I'm not too happy with the stage, notice how it's a little bit big. I can resize it, but what I might actually do is resize the actual document itself. So I'm going to go up and modify a document. I'm going to change the dimension. So the width at the moment is a little bit wide, so I might bring that back to 500, but the height needs to be a little bit taller, so I might go to 450 there and click on OK. So now we can sort of see they fit a little bit better into our stage. So once I've got my image prepped and my stage size, I can come down to the layer, change this to my GUI layer, so that I'm getting ready to set all this up. Also I'm going to need an ActionScript 3 layer, so once again rename this to AS3. This is for my coding. So let's set up the hit states. So we know from creating a button we put an object on there and then we can actually then use that object as a button. There's several techniques, but I'm going to show you just a little quick one that I like to do just to do something complex. And so if we want to turn Bender into a button, I'm just going to come out here. I'm going to make sure I'm just going to lock my ActionScript layer at the moment. Select that layer there. I'm just going to draw a little square on the screen. So this is going to become my button, but I'm going to select this. I'm going to modify convert to a symbol. In this case it's going to be a button, and I'm going to call it BTN Bender. Click OK. Now when I go inside this button, you notice now I've gone from the scene inside the button. The buttons here, I've got my up, over and down state. To make an invisible hit state, we actually don't need the up, over and down. So I can delete that. But what we do need is the hit state. This is the part that registers that someone's clicked on it, or the definitely in this case where it's been clicked on. So what I need to do here is I need to put in a keyframe. So function F6. And then what I can do is I can actually use the brush tool to draw around Bender. So I'm just drawing around him at the moment. I'm not using a mouse, so it's a little bit sketchy. So you can see I've drawn around him, and then I'm going to use the fill bucket, and I'm just going to fill that object all together. Now this is my hit state register, so when my mouse goes over this area here, it should turn into a hand. So let's go back out to our main timeline. You notice that you can see the little shadowy blue section. That means it's invisible. So when we run our actual program, you notice that you can't see that blue area, but watch my cursor as it goes over, it turns into a hand. So that now has a hit state. So when I click on that, I can listen for those sort of events. The only thing I need to do now is actually give it a name, an instance name. So I'm going to go up to properties, Bender selected at the moment, and I'm going to call it BTN Bender. And now I can actually go to my AS3 layer to now set up an event listener to listen to Bender. So this works for all the different parts. So just quickly in review, let's set up another one. So say if I actually want fry, I can grab a square or any sort of object you'd like. I'll just put it over this side, draw that on screen, convert this to a button, BTN fry, click OK, go inside the button. So I've moved from the stage inside the button. I can delete the up state of this, go to the hit state, function F6. I can then draw around fry, and as long as you're fairly accurate, people are happy. And once I've done that, I've made a container because I've made a full circle. I can fill that. When I head up to the main timeline, you now see I've still got Bender blue, Fry is also blue. I need to give Fry an instance name, so once I select him there, I can go back to properties, btn Fry. In the runtime now, you see that Bender is an object, and so is Fry, and I can set up listeners for that now. So that's the way you set up invisible hit states.